Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the top 5 best Jakob weapons in Borderlands 4. Now, Jakob's weapons will inherently ricochet around to multiple enemies, and they usually deal a lot of damage. There has actually been some recent buffs to certain weapons here that I'll be breaking down and showing you the best ways to utilize these weapons, as some of them are extremely powerful, as you can see right there. Diving right in, our first batch of honorable mentions starts with the Hellwalker here, which only has a 2-round magazine. It's not as good as some of the other shotguns here that have a low magazine, as the damage output isn't that great. It's cool because it's a reference to Doom Eternal. The Phantom Flame we also have here, which is good on specific builds like Rafa with infinite ammo from the Bullet Buddy Deluxe, as it shoots his entire magazine infinitely, as if you have the Bullet Buddy Deluxe, you can just continue firing. We also get the Rowan's Charge here, which is a Torglace and Sticky magazine weapon. Unfortunately, one of the worst versions of this, but if we can get infinite ammo, we can do crazy amounts of damage on this one as well. And we also got a purple, the Looming Dullahan, or really any Dullahan with the underbarrel spread launcher, which can do 31,000 damage times 5. So here's the Hellwalker. It's not really that great, but if you get infinite ammo like I do right now, it can make it a lot better, because otherwise you're going to be reloading between every shot. You can see if you can actually get infinite ammo, like I have the green skill tree Harlow here, which is giving me our ammo back on critical hit, you can actually do some pretty respectable damage. However, there's only 2 builds that work: Bullet Buddy Deluxe Rafa and critical refunding Harlow with some specific interactions. It's a good weapon, but there's just a lot of really good weapons here, and being only fire damage is a little bit constricting. The Phantom Flame here also being a fire damage. We actually rolled this boss having a fire damage resistance this time, but you can see there, if we get infinite ammo, it can actually be pretty funny, but it's not really that strong outside of that. Here's the Rowan's Charge with the Torglace and Stickies, and it's a Jakob, so he can actually ricochet these around, which is really nice. You can see there, they're bouncing off onto the floors. We're not doing a lot of damage. His health bar is not moving, but it's when you reload the gun, that's when the real damage comes. Especially when you get infinite bullets here, because we're actually doing literal no damage, but now that we're actually doing a bit, we can just go ahead and reload the gun, and it's going to start doing a bit more damage. Not really that much, but some. And the underbarrel from the Looming Dullahan, as you can see there, does crazy damage. And the gun itself is also pretty powerful, but it's that underbarrel that does like 100,000 damage. It's pretty absurd. But yeah, this one's pretty good for purple. Our final honorable mentions will be the King's Gambit here, which allows you to ricochet bullets around. It's really fun, but not super powerful. And then we also have the Borstal Ballista. Now, I really wanted to put this on the list. You can think of it as like number 6. Now, the only reason it's not going to go on here is because it's really hard to use. It's a long-range gun. So you can kind of see whenever you fire off, it's going to create extra projectiles. I'll shoot over here so you can see a little bit better. So yeah, you're creating multiple projectiles there, but those are really hard to use, because most times when you're shooting at an enemy, even though it's ricocheting around, you're not likely going to be dealing crazy amounts of damage with this. I think this is a really fun sniper rifle and great for mobbing. It's kind of fun using this weapon, but its damage output is not great unless the boss is really far away from you. And even so, there's much better weapons out there for things like that, as you can see. And here's the King's Gambit, so you fire it away, and then you can shoot King Me. If it'll shoot, you can ricochet the projectiles off of that, but it's a little bit tricky. I think it's best to utilize on Rafa. Not really crazy on this build. So in 5th place, we have the Rainbow Vomit Jakob shotgun here. Now, this may surprise you because this is a really good shotgun, but it's in 5th place. So with this, you get additional elements on it, which is cool because then Vex can stay attuned to kinetic, getting her life seal from her green skill tree while still applying elemental damage types. So it can come with any elemental damage. We got Corrosive, Cryo, and Incendiary. My personal favorite, and I think the best, is the Cryo, Radiation, and Shock, especially if you got specific builds that set up and deal additional radiation and shock off of them. So Rainbow Vomit's fun because, yeah, it's a kinetic weapon. So it does have a pretty far weapon drop there, so you can see that whenever we're shooting that, the bullets will drop down quite low. Be careful, it does a bit of splash, so you don't want to get too close, but you can shoot this, and it does a lot of damage, especially if you're going for those headshots that ricocheted around to just wipe out a bunch of enemies. I think this is best utilized on like a Rafa build even. As mentioned, Vex can make good use of it. It's just a consistent good weapon that's great for proccing conditions, as there's a lot of builds in the game that actually benefit from proccing any type of condition. You can also get to do those elemental damage types. If you have any buffs to those types of damage, you can do a pretty good amount with it, so it's a fun one. And to farm yourself a Rainbow Vomit, we're going to go over to Leader Wilhelm here. Next is a weapon that got a pretty substantial buff on the latest patch, which increases damage by 50%, and then also increased the Pair of Thieves special ability by 50%, which is huge. You used to just double the damage, now it's 1.5 to 150% extra damage, crazy. So basically, it's a shotgun and an assault rifle, and they're both really good guns. I want to mention that. They both aim down sights, just everything about them are great. It'll also have the Jakob's critical hit ricochet, so this is a shotgun that deals a high damage, and it changes whenever you shoot and kill an enemy with one of them. You can swap and get the ammunition back in the other, so you can basically fire this indefinitely. The trick is to take out a trash mob with the assault rifle, and then change it to the underbarrel shotgun, which does crazy amounts of damage here. Yeah, it's going to be pretty absurd once you actually get this rolling here. We're getting the critical hits off. There we go. So yeah, you're doing a lot of damage with this shotgun. And then you can always swap over to the assault rifle if you end up running out of pellets there. You can see, actually doing respectable amounts of damage, especially with this setup that gives the infinite ammo. Yeah, this gun is pretty nice. The crazy thing about this is that big damage buff that they gave to it, as it's already a pretty powerful weapon on its own. I liked this gun before, and it's even better now. The assault rifle is also really nice. It has a good recoil pattern there, and pretty easy to aim down sights, and it has good iron sights. I guess the Jacob sight there. In the farm of Bonnie and Clyde, we're going to go to Directive O here and fight this fight here. In third place, we have TK's Wave. Now, this shotgun's crazy because it comes in a variety of different setups. You can get it with a Ripper license magazine. You can get it with Torque license stickies. I really like that one because Torque stickies are really powerful. You can get it with a variety of different underbarrel attachments. I got the knife launcher here. This has been a weapon that's been in all the Borderlands game before, and they're finally giving it its flowers because it's really good this time around. So the projectiles, if you're not aware, bounce around in a wave-like pattern. And you can see we're doing actually crazy amounts of damage with this here. This isn't even the Torque Slice and Sticky one or a max damage roll. And we're doing pretty funny graphics there with the lines flying around everywhere. We actually got 2 legendaries from that, so yeah, that was cool. But you can see with this here, it's going to do these bouncing projectiles, which then are going to chain around to multiple different enemies. You can pick up a lot of extra damage when you're mobbing, but it's also great with bosses because the damage per second is the highest out of any gun that's not a heavy ordnance here. With it, you can get upwards of like a 14 to 15k damage on it, and this one is even the best roll. So yeah, TK's Wave, very powerful. And to farm yourself a TK's Wave, we're going to come over and fight Rock and Roller over here. And in second place, we have Seventh Sense. This is a really interesting one because this is going to create additional orbs behind the enemy and the homing on targets on reload. So whenever you fire this gun off, you're going to make these little orbs that eventually are going to do a bunch of extra damage. And then it's also, again, a Jacob's license gun, so critical hits will chain around. I got a Ripper mag on here. You can get a bunch of different rolls for this. It's also going to get increased melee damage if you're running a melee build and you want to run in close. And this here is what this gun looks like. You may recognize it from the start of the video. Yeah, we just completely destroyed his health bar there. Boom, we're creating those orbs. Then when you reload, it just shreds his health pretty quickly. So yeah, this gun is absurd. And this is an ultimate vault under 5. It's doing like absurd amounts of damage. Even better if you can get critical hits too, because that creates those orbs that you see there. And you see them all just fly right into his face there. That's one of the cool things about this gun is you see that little projectile just building up, especially if you can get some extra ammo. This is great on Rafa's infinite bullets. And even this build, it's pretty powerful. That proprioception, which is the thought, like if you move your arm away from your body, how you know your arm's away from your body, kind of a funny ability there. But hitting enemies that spawn orbs, it's a very powerful ability, and that's what makes this weapon so good. And to farm this one, it's actually going to be at Violent Heads and the Experiments here, so you can come right up, and it's actually funny, close to another one here. And for our best Jacobs gun, it goes to the Hot Slugger. They didn't make any different versions of the Hot Slugger. It just comes as it is because it's already perfection. It comes with a blazing barrel, which even if it didn't come with a 30% bonus damage times 3 after you get a kill, it would still be one of the best weapons in the game. But that's an extra 90% damage. We'll take it. It has, again, Jacob's license critical hits, which is great. And what's cool about the blazing barrels is you can get that damage boost and swap to another gun because it's just overall damage dealt. Now, what makes this so good is every character in the game can use this. A little pro tip, when using the Hot Slugger, hold down your fire button and just hit the reload. Because when you do it this way, it's actually shooting it faster than normally it would be capable of shooting it. So yeah, that's really good because it's just straight up will boost your overall damage rate. This is great on Lifesteal Vex. This is great on, I guess Bullet Buddy Deluxe Rafa is actually probably one of the worst builds, and it's still a really good weapon for there. Just because it shoots a big projectile, and whenever you're shooting with this, you don't really have to think too much. You just literally fire away, and it's going to deal damage, chain around. It's great for mobbing. It's great for bossing. It does really everything itself good here, so if you have builds that set up extra damage on your next shot, like if you got the amp version of the rep kit there, you can actually get some pretty respectable damage. Rafa actually makes great use of this with the first impressions, getting a 55% bonus damage, and then the vitriol, which gives him extra corrosive damage on top of it after a first reload. So anything that boosts your first shot after a reload is going to boost up the Hot Slugger. It's just a good weapon all around. It can fit on every single build in the game, so that's why it's here in first place. And it's farmable at this annoying place to get to. You can come up from the Bones of Sanctuary to the Callous Harbinger of Annihilating Death to get yourself a Hot Slugger. There's just so many really good Jacobs guns in this game, and this isn't even going to count weapons that have the Jacobs license accessory, which would open this up even further. I may do a video on that in the future, but let me know your favorite Jacobs weapon. There's a lot of them. Mine's probably TK's Wave, if I'm being honest. It's not one that I rank the strongest, but it's a fun one. And let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed. We'll catch you all in the next video.